Long time with it. I am back. I am back. All right. So we're going to do this full court press thing, and we are going to do new information from each chapter. The chapters are listed below. Tyler, what's up, bro? Everything going, man? Listen, man, I want to catch up with y'all guys as soon as I can get this school schedule figured out, man. I want to catch up with you guys and get back on the mat. Y'all, Tyler is the man. And I think you know moved up a belt or two, haven't you? Well, at least one. I'm tripping. I right? You know moved up at least one belt level, right? If I ain't mistaken, I might be tripping. I don't think so. But congratulations, man. Congratulations. Yeah, my boy Tyler he held on that mat, man. Trust me. All right, so we're gonna we're gonna go through infection control, anatomy, physiology, basis of chemistry, basis of electricity, skin structure, disorders and diseases, and properties and disorders of the hair and scalp. Now, if you're looking at the book, waiting for I got the yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about, man. Like I said, I'm gonna have to get with you guys whenever I get my schedule figured out. So don't think I don't want to be there. I am dying to get back on the mat, man, and catch up with you guys. We're gonna skip chapter 5, implements, tools, and equipment, because that is his own thing. Hey, what's up? Good morning. You know what? It's interesting to see who's up on a Sunday morning with me for all this good stuff. All right, so let's get started. 56. All right, so we're gonna do new information and then we're gonna back up. All right, so where were we? We did active. Okay, bacterial infections. All right, cool. So we're gonna start with bacterial infections. There can be no bacterial infection without the presence of pathogenic bacteria. Therefore, if pathogenic bacteria are eliminated, clients cannot become infected. An inflammation is a condition in which the tissue of the body reacts to injury, irritation, or infection. And inflammation is characterized by redness, heat, pain, and or swelling. Pus is a fluid containing white blood cells, bacteria, and dead cells, and is the byproduct of the infectious process. The presence of pus is a sign of a bacterial infection. A local infection, such as a pimple or abscess, is confined to a particular part of the body and appears as a lesion containing pus. A systemic infection is an infection where the pathogen has distributed throughout the body rather than staying in one area or organ. Staphylococci are among the most common bacteria that affect humans and are commonly found in our environment, including on our bodies, although most strains do not make us ill. Staph bacteria can be picked up on doorknobs, countertops, and other surfaces, but in the barbershop, they are more frequently spread through skin-to-skin contact, such as shaking hands, or through the use of unclean tools or implements, and can be very dangerous. Hence, clean your stuff, right? I'll typically clean my clippers before and after every client. Really during a cut sometimes too, because if they get heated or something like that, I'll go ahead and spray them down too with clipper side, the stuff in the orange can, even though Andy's got a good one too, but I'm a bigger fan of clipper side overall. Staph is responsible for food poisoning and a wide range of diseases, including toxic shock syndrome. Some types of infectious staph bacteria are highly resistant to conventional treatments, such as antibiotics. An example is the staph infection called methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. See, I got it that time. All right. Historically, MRSA occurred most frequently among people with weakened immune systems or among people who had undergone medical procedures. Today, it has become more common in otherwise healthy people. Clients who appear completely healthy may bring this organism into the shop where it can infect others. Some people carry the bacteria and are not even aware of the infection, but the people they infect may show more obvious symptoms. MRSA initially appears as a skin infection presenting as pimples, rashes, or boils that can be difficult to cure. Without proper treatment, the infection becomes systemic and can have devastating consequences that can result even in death. Because of these highly resistant bacterial strains, it is important to clean and disinfect all tools and implements used on customers. Again, I think every paragraph is going to end on clean your stuff. All right. Also, do not perform services if the client's skin, scalp, or neck shows visible signs of abrasion or infection. All right. Look, I can't stress that one enough. I see clients with certain things that I have to refuse service all the time. If you're going to refuse service, just do so. You don't have to be public about it. You just do so in a small manner, right? That's another benefit of doing a scalp and skin analysis when somebody first sits down, right? So if they sit down before you even drape them, before you even put the cape on, the neck strip, or anything like that, because that's an indication. Putting those on is an indication that you're going to start the service and you're going to complete the service. If they sit down, I'll take a look around. I'll spin around in a chair and I'll have a look and I'll just see if there's anything like that. Checking the skin, the scalp, or the neck. If they show visible signs of abrasion or infection, of course, we're going to refuse service. In a perfect world, they would see that themselves before they even come to the shop, but you never know. Sometimes people either don't know or they don't care. And a lot of times out of those two is usually the second one, I'm sorry to say. They want to get their hair cut. They're going to sit down and you have to be the one responsible with refusing them service sometimes if they show those signs on their skin, scalp, and hair. All right. When a disease spreads from one person to another, the disease is said to be a contagious disease, also known as communicable. All right. Some of the more common contagious diseases that prevent a barber from servicing a client are the common cold, ringworm, conjunctivitis, which is pink eye, and viral infections. The most common way these infections spread is through dirty hands, especially under the fingernails. Okay. And in the webs between the fingers, right here, right? You would be surprised. You would be surprised. That's why when we are washing our hands, guess what? We're doing all of this, but this ain't enough. Get in there, right? Get in there, right? Underneath these nails. Get in there. Get that soap and water and all that good stuff. Get it underneath the nails too, okay? All that stuff matters, especially as a barber. Any barber that I know that I've talked to, I'll ask them about this. Do you get hair underneath your nails? The answer is overwhelmingly 100% yes. Okay, so it pays to be washing the hands, going under your nails too, and the webs of your fingers. Okay. Contagious diseases can also be spread by contaminated implements, cuts, infected nails, open sores, pus, mouth and nose discharges, shared drinking cups, telephone receivers, and towels. Uncovered coughing or sneezing and spitting in public also spread germs. All right, so that is our new section on bacterial growth and reproduction. Now we are going to jump back into previously. Okay. Bacteria, singular, bacterium. They are single-celled microorganisms that have both plant and animal characteristics. Microorganism, any organism microscopic or submicroscopic size. Some bacteria are harmful, some are harmless. They can exist anywhere on skin and water, air, decayed matter, environmental surfaces, body secretions, clothing, under the free edge of nails. They are so small they can only be seen with a microscope. Two types of bacteria. You have non-pathogenic, you have pathogenic. Non-pathogenic, harmless organisms may perform useful functions. Most bacteria, by the way, are non-pathogenic. They are safe to come in contact with since they do not cause disease or harm. For example, non-pathogenic organisms are used to make yogurt, cheese, and some medicines. And in the human body, non-pathogenic bacteria help the body break down food, protect against infection, and stimulate the immune system. Pathogenic is harmful. They are the harmful bacteria that can cause disease or infection in humans when they invade the body. Okay. Classifications of pathogenic bacteria. You have three. You got cocci, bacilli, spirilla. Within the classifications of cocci, You have 3 of those. So you have staphylococci, streptococci, diplococci. Staphylococci pus form and grow in clusters like bunches of grapes. Streptococci pus form and arranged in curved lines resembling a string of beads. Diplococci, spherical bacteria grow in pairs and cause diseases such as pneumonia. Okay. Bacilli, within the larger classification. Bacilli, short rod-shaped bacteria. Most common bacteria produces diseases such as tetanus, typhoid fever, tuberculosis, and diphtheria. Spirilla are spiral or corkscrew-shaped bacteria. All right. They causes syphilis and Lyme disease. All right. Movement of bacteria. Different bacteria move in different ways. Motility is the same as mobility. It's just the way that they move. Bacteria's the reference is bacteria's self-movement, how they move themselves about, okay? Bacilli, spirilla, both capable of movement. Cocci rarely demonstrate self-movement and are generally transmitted in the air. Bacilli and spirilla, both capable of movement and use slender hair-like extensions called flagella to move about, all right? You may also hear people refer to cilia in reference to cell movement, but they are much shorter than flagella, okay? We're going to stop there for infection control. We are going to jump to chapter 6, anatomy and physiology. I'm gonna give y'all new information first, and then we're gonna double back to what we normally do. All right. So let's see. Where were we with this one? Okay, cool. Bones of the skull. The skull is the skeleton of the head. It is divided into 2 parts. You got the cranium. It is an oval, bony case that protects the brain. And you have the facial skeleton, the framework of the face that is composed of 14 bones. Okay, there's new information right here. Bones of the skull. The skull is the skeleton of the head and is divided into 2 parts. You got the cranium, which is an oval, bony case that protects the brain, and you have the facial skeleton, the framework of the face that is composed of 14 bones. All right. That is the new information. Now we are going to jump backwards all the way back. All right. We're going to jump backwards from here to the next to the next backward section, to the next backward section, all the way to the end. I mean, all the way to the beginning of the chapter. All right. So we do new information and then move in reverse all the way to the front of the chapter. Make sense? All right, let's go. Skeletal system forms the physical foundation of the body, composed of 206 bones that vary in size and shape. They are connected by movable and immovable joints. Osteology is the study of the anatomy, structure, and function of the bones. Os means bone. Os means bone. Used as a prefix in many medical terms, such as osteoarthritis, okay, or osteoporosis, that type of thing. Except for the tissue that forms the major part of the teeth, bone is the hardest tissue in the body. It is composed of connective tissue consisting of about 1/3 organic matter, such as cells and blood, 2/3 minerals, mainly calcium carbonate and calcium phosphate. The primary functions of the skeletal system are to give shape and support to the body, protect various internal structures and organs, serve as attachments for muscles, and act as levers to produce body movement, help produce both white and red blood cells, one of the functions of bone marrow, and to store most of the body's calcium supply, as well as phosphorus, magnesium, and sodium. Okay. A joint is the connection between 2 or more bones of the skeleton. There are 2 types: movable, such as elbows, knees, and hips, and immovable, such as the joints found in the pelvis and skull, which allow little or no movement. There are exceptions to this condition, such as childbirth, where special hormones allow for flexibility of the pelvic joints. Okay. Now, let's keep moving backwards. Body systems and associated organs. Organs are structures composed of specialized tissues designed to perform specific functions in plants and animals. During the development of a fetus, tissues are assigned to specific functions in the body. They develop specifically for those functions. For example, lung tissue would not work as a part of the brain, as it is designed to serve a specific function in the lungs. Body systems are also known as systems. They are groups of body organs acting together to perform one or more functions. All right. Tissue, collection of similar cells that perform a particular function. Each kind of tissue has a specific function, can be recognized by its characteristic appearance. Body tissues are composed of large amounts of water along with various other substances. There are 4 types of tissues in the body. You have 1, connective tissue, Fibrous tissue that binds together, protects, and supports the various parts of the body. Examples of connective tissue are bone, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, blood, lymph, and adipose tissue, a technical term for fat. Adipose tissue gives smoothness and contour to the body. 2, got epithelial tissue. It's a protective covering on body surfaces such as skin, mucous membranes, the tissue inside the mouth, lining of the heart, digestive and respiratory organs, and the glands. Next, you have muscle tissue. It contracts and moves various parts of the body. And last, you have nerve tissue. It carries messages to and from the brain and controls and coordinates all bodily functions. Nerve tissue is composed of special cells known as neurons that make up the nerves, the brain, and the spinal cord. All right. Now, let's talk a little bit about cell reproduction and division. Cells have the ability to reproduce, thus provide new cells for the growth and replacement of worn or injured ones. Mitosis is the usual process of cell reproduction of human tissues that occurs when the cell divides into 2 identical cells called daughter cells. 2 small structures near the nucleus called centrioles move to each side during the mitosis process to help divide the cell. As long as conditions are favorable, the cell will grow and reproduce. Favorable conditions include an adequate supply of food, oxygen, and water, suitable temperatures, and the ability to eliminate waste products. If conditions become unfavorable, the cell will become impaired or may die. Unfavorable conditions include toxins, poisons, disease, and injury. Now, let's break down the cell and what the cell is, okay? Cells are the basic units of all living things, from bacteria to plants to animals, including human beings. Without cells, life does not exist. As a basic functional unit, the cell is responsible for carrying on all life processes. There are trillions with a T. Trillions with a T of cells in the human body. They vary widely in size, shape, and purpose. Basic structure of the cell. The cells of all living things are composed of a substance called protoplasm, a colorless jelly-like substance found inside cells in which food elements such as proteins, fats, carbs, mineral salts, and water are present. Okay, you can visualize the protoplasm of a cell as being similar to a raw egg white. In addition to protoplasm, most cells also include a nucleus, cytoplasm, and the cell membrane. Let's talk about them. The nucleus is the dense, active protoplasm. The nucleus is the dense and active protoplasm found in the center of the cell. It plays an important part in cell reproduction and metabolism. You can visualize the nucleus as the yolk in the middle of a raw egg. The cytoplasm is the watery fluid that surrounds the nucleus of the cell. It is needed for growth, reproduction, and self-repair. It is part of the protoplasm of the cell. If you need to know the difference between cytoplasm and protoplasm, cytoplasm is part of the protoplasm of the cell. That's the difference, okay? And last, you have the cell membrane. It is the cell wall that encloses the protoplasm and permits soluble substances to enter and leave the cell. And last but not least, we're going to go to basic definition. What are anatomy? What is anatomy and physiology? Okay. Anatomy is the study of the human body structures that can be seen with the naked eye, how the body parts are organized. It is the science of the structure of organisms or of their parts. Physiology is the study of the functions and activities performed by the body structures. The meaning-ology means the study of. So anatomy is study of the human body structures. Physiology is the study of the functions and activities performed by the body structures. So anatomy is what parts of the body. Physiology is what do those parts do, right? So anatomy would be, hey, this is my hand. It is made of 5 fingers, different fingers, right? Okay. Physiology is what do the fingers do? They make a fist. That's the difference. Okay. Anatomy is the hand. Physiology is my hand making a fist. That's the difference. Okay. Now we are going to jump to chapter 7, basics of chemistry. All right. So we are going to go to, what is the new thing? What is the new thing? Wait a minute. Let me back up, y'all. Let me back up. Oh, yeah. Let's see here. Okay, molecules. That's what we're going to jump on first. A molecule is formed when 2 or more atoms combine chemically in fixed proportions. For example, hydrogen, or H2, contains 2 atoms of hydrogen. The air or atmospheric gases that we breathe is primarily made up of nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, argon, and water vapor. The oxygen in air is an example of an elemental molecule. Elemental molecules consist of two or more atoms of the same element in fixed proportions. In this case, two atoms of the element oxygen, which is written as O2, ozone, which is written as O3. A major component of smog is another elemental molecule, but contains three atoms of oxygen. Next, we're going to talk about compound molecules. Compound molecules are chemical combinations of two or more atoms of different elements. Sodium chloride, or common table salt, is a compound molecule that is a chemical combination of one atom of sodium and one atom of chlorine. Other examples of compound molecules you will recognize are water, which is H2O, carbon dioxide, which we know is CO2, and hydrogen peroxide, which is H2O2. All right. That is the new information. Now we are going to start from the beginning of the chapter. What is chemistry? I will tell you. Chemistry is the science that deals with the composition, structure, and properties of matter, how matter changes under different chemical conditions. The field is divided into two areas: organic, inorganic chemistry. What are the differences? Organic chemistry, study of substances that contain the element carbon. All living things are made of compounds that contain carbon. The term organic applies to all living things, those things that were once alive. So gasoline, synthetic fabrics, plastics, pesticides, they are all considered organic because they are manufactured from natural gas and oil, which are the remains of plants and animals that died millions of years ago, and most organic substances will burn. Inorganic chemistry is the study of substances that do not contain carbon but may contain hydrogen. Inorganic substances are not and never were alive. Therefore, they will not burn. Metals, minerals, water, air, ammonia are inorganic substances. Okay. Hey, Lucretia. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Matter. Let's define it. Matter is defined as anything that occupies space and has mass. So volume times weight. That is space times mass is volume times weight. All matter has physical and chemical properties, exists in the form of a solid, liquid, gas, or plasma. All right. It has physical properties. We can touch, we can taste, we can smell or see, but not everything is matter. For example, we can see visible light and electrical sparks, but light and electricity are forms of energy, and energy is not matter because it does not have mass. In fact, energy can be defined as the ability to change or put matter into motion. Hey, what's up? Thank you. The chemical properties of matter can only be seen or measured when a chemical change or chemical reaction occurs. Next, we're going to talk about elements. An element is the simplest form of chemical matter. It contains only one type of atom. It cannot be broken down into a simpler substance without a loss of identity. There are 118 different elements known to science today, with 98 of these occurring naturally on Earth. The remaining elements, known as synthetic elements, are produced artificially or through synthesis. Okay. All the matter in the known universe is made up of elements that have their own distinct physical and chemical properties. Each element is given a letter symbol such as O for oxygen, S for sulfur, or H for hydrogen. Elements are made up of atoms. The atomic number of an element indicates how many protons are in one atom of that element. If the number of protons changes, the element changes. And the complete periodic table of elements can be found in any chemistry textbooks, online, Google, all that good stuff. You can search the internet. You can find the periodic table of all the elements that you need, okay? Atoms, they are the basic building blocks of all matter. They are the smallest particle of an element that has the chemical identity of the chemical. At the center of an atom is the nucleus that is made up of subatomic particles of protons with a positive charge, neutrons with no charge. The nucleus is orbited by electrons, E, with a negative charge. As the basic unit of matter, atoms cannot be divided into simpler substances by ordinary chemical means. Hey, what's going on? What's up? What's up? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. So that was the previous information. The new information we're going to go over one more time. All right. Molecules. Molecule is formed when two or more atoms combine chemically in definite proportions. For example, hydrogen contains two atoms of hydrogen. The air or atmospheric gases that we breathe is primarily made up of nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, argon, and water vapor. Okay. Oxygen in the air is an example of an elemental molecule. Elemental molecules consist of two or more atoms of the same element in fixed proportions. In this case, two elements of the element oxygen, which is written as O2. Ozone is written as O3. A major component of smog is another elemental molecule, but contains 3 atoms of oxygen. All right. And last but not least in this chapter for today, compound molecules, chemical combinations of 2 or more atoms of different elements. Sodium chloride, or common table salt, is a compound molecule that is a chemical combination of 1 atom of sodium and 1 atom of chlorine. Other examples of chemical compound molecules you will recognize are water, which is H2O, carbon dioxide, CO2, and hydrogen peroxide. So, quick thing on this chapter, right? So, a lot of people ask this question. Look, why do we need to know this? Why do we need to understand this? Because once you start to understand the chemical makeup of different things, you can understand the chemical reactions. I'm coming 1 second. You can understand the chemical reactions of things such as shampoo, conditioner, all of the different things that we may need, that if we understand the chemical makeup of our hair, if we understand some of the chemical reactions that we will have to our skin, and we start to understand the pH levels and all of that good stuff, guess what that is? That's chemistry. So it helps to have a healthy understanding of chemistry as a whole, so you understand chemistry in the context of what you're doing. So yeah, we got to start with this stuff, the technical, tedious stuff, till we get to the stuff that makes sense with what we're doing. Okay. I'll give you examples. So let's say you have clarifying shampoo, you have normalizing shampoo, you have regular shampoo. All right, if you understand what each one does chemically, you know which ones to use in a certain situation for a certain type of hair. That's why chemistry matters. But before we get to that stuff, we got to get an overall understanding of what we're dealing with. Okay. One of the things that we talked about already is something that you use all the time when you get to the shampoo bowl, which is what? H2O. Just means water. Okay. But when the H2O mixes with the things from the shampoo or things from conditioner or something like, in any of those, I'm trying to think of other stuff, but basically everything has a chemical makeup. All right. So the spray, right? When you spray the line on, y'all know what I'm talking about, the enhancements, right? That has a certain chemical makeup. It has a chemical makeup for alcohol, which is different from a chemical makeup from, aftershave or antiseptic. They have different chemical makeups. If we understand those, we can have a better understanding of which one we want to apply in these different methods and things like that. Okay, that's where I'm going with this. But before we get there, we got to get to the technical stuff about atoms, molecules, elemental molecules, compound molecules. That's how that goes. Exactly. Albany Beauty Academy. Exactly. All right. Actually, I wanted to jump in the other 3 chapters. I have to jump off of here. One of my students is here very, very early. I got to get with him. I got to talk with him about a few things. He recently got his approval. He recently got his permit. So everybody, y'all give a round of applause for my man, Tyrone Aiken. Y'all will be seeing him very, very soon. I'm going to jump off of here. I'm going to get with him. We're going to chop it up, all this stuff before class officially starts, because guess what? They're going to get the same thing. They're just going to get it in more detail. All right. So until then, I'm your instructor, Pierre Huey, aka Mr. P. The P is for patience, and the P is for proud. Okay, I am proud of these students that have embarked on this journey with me, and they are already making strides. Like, you should have seen these guys putting it in work yesterday. It was awesome. So we will get to there. I will see y'all soon. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Enjoy your day. Peace.